All right. Well, let's kick things off here. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining today. We are excited to have you here for a joint webinar with YCharts and Orion and talking through one of our newest product releases, which is model portfolio holdings integration with Orion. So happy to have all of you here today. We're excited to talk through this whole thing. So my name is Rishi Shah. I'm a director of product management here at YCharts, and I've been tasked to focus a lot on our integration efforts. So worked quite a bit with Orion's team to build out this integration and moving forward, building out a lot of our integration strategy. And today I'm excited to be joined by Ben over at Orion. So Ben, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, thanks, Rishi. Appreciate the intro and appreciate the partnership here and the opportunity today. Ben France with Orion, uh, cover business development in the central U.S. here for the Orion technology side. Been with Orion for about 7 years or so, partnering with advisors in pretty much all over the country. But again, excited about this opportunity to partner further with YCharts and expand the Orion integrations family, if you will.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And Ben, thanks a lot for the partnership. You guys have been great to work with, and we're pretty excited about this overall. Just to keep a couple more housekeeping items before we jump into things. There's a Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom screen or where you're joining from. So if you want to throw in questions throughout the webinar, we'll try and answer them on the fly, but we'll also do a Q&A at the end of the webinar. So please answer or submit your questions there. Um, Also, if you're on the call or if you're registered for the webinar in general, we will be sending a recording of this webinar after it's finished. So be on the lookout for that if you wanted to rewatch any or all of the webinar afterwards. All right, so let's go ahead and cover our agenda here today. We're going to start off by just a quick overview of Orion, and then we'll talk about YCharts a little bit, and then we'll really jump into the actual integration, and we'll be able to talk a bit about how it looks on the Orion side. If you're an Orion user, or if you're not, you'll be able to see how it looks within Orion, and then we'll jump into YCharts a little bit and show the impact of that integration and show that integration in action. So we'll be covering both, and then we'll close out with some Q&A at the end. All right, Ben, I'll pass it off to you.
Yeah, awesome. So for those of you who might not be quite as familiar with Orion, just wanted to give kind of a 30,000-foot view of who we are and a little bit about what we do and why we do what we do at Orion. So Orion, again, at our core, we are a technology company. Obviously, as the years have gone by, we've evolved to have a few additional services outside of just technology here in 2022. But again, we were started back in 1999 by Eric Clark. Still here in 2022, the CEO of Orion. He was on the operations staff at CLS Investments. In that time, they couldn't find a technology solution that fit their needs, so they went out and built Orion. And so again, as those 23 years have gone by, we've, again, like I said, evolved quite a bit to now service roughly 2,300 or so advisory firms across the entire country. And then on the wealth management side, obviously servicing north of 51,000 advisors. And again, you see there's 63 billion in assets on that side of things. But again, for today's purposes, we're really focused more on the technology, the Orion technology side of things. And again, when we talk about the Orion offering, again, really kind of what we do, the services that we provide, right? It all starts with the data aggregation, the reconciliation we're bringing in on a daily basis from your main custodians for any other data aggregation sources that you might have, bringing all that data into one place, giving you what we call kind of one source of truth, if you will, from a data perspective, to be able to provide you with reporting, billing, trading, compliance, client portal experience, planning experience, all consolidated within one ecosystem. But again, really, what our main focus is that data aggregation and reconciliation that we're performing on a daily basis. Because again, if that data is not accurate, if you don't have confidence in the data that's within Orion, nothing else that we do at the end of the day really truly matters. So, and again, we talk about the services perspective. That's really, again, kind of the grand scheme of things, what the services are that we provide. Rishi, if you want to advance to the next slide here really quick. Something that I wanted to cover as well is again just kind of what we call our tech-enabled fiduciary process. What's driven us from the Orion technology perspective to innovate here over the years. And that's what we call our prospect, plan, invest, achieve process. So again, what we're looking to do is to provide you as an advisor with a platform to grow, right? So again, from the prospecting phase, you're rolling into the planning tool. So using the Orion planning tools to invest, right? So again, you're creating your model portfolios within Orion, rebalancing those models, syncing those models over to YCharts as well to do some screening, to kind of run some calculations within their platform, and then ultimately achieve, right? So again, our main goal at the end of the day is to help you achieve efficiency, because again, when you're efficient, you grow, and when you grow, again, your business grows and your clients are happier. So again, just kind of what we call that tech-enabled fiduciary process, enabling you to grow by leveraging Orion's platform. So with that, Rishi, I'll pass it over to you to go over the YChart side of things.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks for that overview. And I think we fit into a lot of these categories here with what we do at YCharts. And to break it down, we're really an investment research and data platform. So we help you do that research, build model portfolios within YCharts, and then also communicate those insights to your end clients. And we do this in kind of a cycle way so that you can continuously run through your workflow within your firm. So I'll start here in the top right in terms of portfolio construction, because that's really where this integration is adding so much value. By using Orion and YCharts and connecting the data there, you're able to easily pull in model portfolios from Orion or even client or account data and pull that into YCharts so that you can run some research and actually do some visuals and build some proposals and client communication pieces. So that's kind of stage 2 here, where you can build those reports, build those PDF reports, and have something ready for meetings potentially, or just to have talking points for your client meetings. Aside from that, we have things like side-by-side analysis and tear sheets. So again, more communication pieces, more ways to say, hey, here's my model portfolio, which might be housed in Orion, and here's where your portfolio is at. Let's see where the differences are, and maybe this can be a selling piece that you can use as an advisor. Once you've done that part, we also have a ton of different things that help with market and portfolio monitoring. So that's going to be things like our dashboard and alerts that you can put on securities, just to keep an eye and keep a pulse on the market as you're working throughout your day. And lastly, kind of where we started from has been our research and analysis piece. So like Ben mentioned, our screening tool is huge. We also have a comp tables tool, which I'll be showing a little bit, just to pull data together and view it in quick and easy ways to make intuitive insights and really keep track on your investments as a whole. So once that cycle is done, you kind of start over and go back into that portfolio construction part. So this integration piece is becoming a vital piece of that advisor's workflow to do a lot of things throughout the day. And with all of that, you can see our key benefits here on the left. So, AUM growth and retention is a huge, huge part of an advisor's focus, and we want to help support that by using YCharts. Also, you're going to save significant time by using the tool and just having those intuitive workflows. And lastly, you're just going to have better outcomes and client satisfaction when you're dealing with your client meetings and using YCharts to do so. So that's kind of our key benefits there. And I did want to point out one quote we got, and I talked to George last week actually, because we've been trying to talk to a few people that have been leveraging the Orion and YCharts integration, and had a great conversation with George. He had a lot to say from feedback, but also from ways that their firm is using the tool in general, and it was awesome. And something he left us with, and I'll just read this off, was leveraging the YCharts platform into our Orion database has resulted in higher efficiency such as integrating and reviewing client and model portfolios. So I'm hoping this kind of resonates with a lot of you on the call, because that's really what we're going for with this integration. And with that, let's jump in the tool. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Ben, you can go ahead and take over and show a little bit of this data within Orion.
Yeah. Perfect. So again, within Orion, again, everybody who is an Orion user should be familiar with this interface, with this, with our dashboard here. But for any of those who don't know, this is, again, kind of as an advisor, this is your main landing page, your dashboard, landing page that's customized by these unique cards that we have available. Again, about 40 or so different cards that you can pick and choose from to really customize your interface to be whatever you need it to be, whatever you'd like it to be, every single day. So again, we talk about, again, kind of going back to, what are the services Orion provides, really that core data aggregation, reconciliation, bringing that in, updated on a daily basis. So all this data is available to you every single day, again, right away, as soon as as soon as the market opens, as soon as you have data within Orion, this interface is going to be updated for you on a daily basis. A few quick things to highlight here. Again, we look at, all right, well, for firm maybe that has multiple advisors, firm that's multiple business lines, we can have our dashboard here be dynamic in the sense that I can apply different filters here. So again, if I want to see, hey, what about just Todd Bertucci? Can I see just his information on screen? I apply that filter and everything adjusts dynamically on screen here for me to see just Todd's information. So again, I see allocation details, I see alerts from the trading platform, I see allocation details here on the asset class side. Again, all right here, everything is completely dynamic, where everything just adjusts right away on screen here for me without having to run reports, without having to dig into anything. It's all, again, right here with all that data that's being brought in every day. Navigation wise, again, over here on the left hand side, we have our different applications within the system. So again, we have billing tools, trading, compliance. Again, is a very popular one these days. Some of our tools for things like trading and rebalancing, portfolio optimization with Astro. So again, quite a few choices over here on the left hand side in terms of navigation. But again, what I wanted to focus on here today is again, kind of more that client specific data. Right, so when we pull up our sample client here, Miss Ethel Smith, we have her account that's again being brought in from the custodian every single day. So again, we have all the positions, transactions, cost basis, all the details to accurately calculate performance changes again on a point-to-point basis to show market value changes within the platform. So all that's going to be available to us right here on this dynamic portfolio view screen. So again, within this one account, we can dive deeper into the allocation, right? So again, we can see kind of at that high level, what does your portfolio look like? Looks like it's about 98% equities. So performance here checks out here to date. Market value changes for that specific time frame, but then we can also jump back from any point to any point, right? So if I want to say, what does her portfolio look like for, from May 5th to, March 9th? So what we're going to do is we're going to pull in that true time-weighted return performance calculation, and everything's going to refresh dynamically for us right here on screen. So again, performance information, performance details, all that's available to us right here. We can see all of her holdings within our equity sector, within our, again, in this case, our money market sector. All that's available to us right here. We can dive down deeper into the allocation details, activity, performance, gain, loss planning. All of that's available to us right here within this one snapshot. Again, as we kind of jump through these different tabs, we have our allocation details, but most importantly, we have our target comparison here. So again, we're able to evaluate where is Ethel in comparison to her model targets here. So again, as I adjust the time frame, it'll pull back that allocation detail for me, so I can see, okay, her model assignment in this case is what we've designated as our equity model. So right here, again, we can see equity model 2 is her model assignment. So this model aggregate is assigned to her portfolio. And so that's what we're comparing here. We're seeing, where's our equity at versus the model? Where's our where's our money market, where's our asset classes over here, our stocks, our large value, our large growth versus the target. So again, kind of coming back to the integration with YCharts, what we're able to do is we're able to take all of our household information, all of our account level information, and then all of our model aggregate information and model details from Orion and we can sync all of that over to YCharts on a daily basis for you. So again, household level data, account level data, and then all of that model detail, model assignments, all that is part of that daily sync that's taking place via API connection. So again, all these details that we have within Orion, we're going through building our models, even if we're, again, bringing in data from, a model aggregate within Eclipse, we have, multiple layers to that model. Again, all that detail is going to be provided by that API connection over to YCharts every single day. So again, just as a quick snapshot of the portfolio, in this case, the allocation details. And then again, we have the ability to jump down deeper into activity, performance, gain, loss, income. Again, all of that is going to be available to us right here within this one snapshot. And then as we again come deeper into the client overview, right? So again, we're still looking at Ethel Smith here as our client. If we need to jump over to Eclipse to go, process some trades, we can jump over right here. If we need to jump over to our client portal, we can do so right there within that 3-dot menu. So again, really trying to make things as easy to use, as easy to navigate for you as possible. When we are reviewing, that one client portfolio, we're able to jump to multiple places, able to pull up multiple different portfolios on screen here. So Maria Iglesias in this case is an additional client that we're going to look up. We can pull up Dell and Burgundy Schwab here. So again, you can see kind of similar to how I have my browser set up with different tabs. I can have different clients set up with different tabs here on screen as well. And then again, as we jump through the other components of the system, we can jump over to again that client portal, to the Orion planning tool to go through and adjust their financial plan. We can go over and run a report, calculate bills. Again, all of that is done, and it's made possible by that data aggregation and reconciliation that we're pulling through every single day. So with that, again, just kind of that high level overview of the Orion platform. Again, if anybody wants to kind of set up some additional time to dive deeper, maybe set up a follow-up demonstration, we'll have those contact details at the end of the presentation here. But I think with that, Ruchel, I'll go ahead and pass back over to you to kind of run through the YCharts demo here.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Ben. And I wanted to start off by basically giving an overview on how to set up that integration within Orion. So for those of you users that are already using Orion and YCharts and you want to get that integration startup or connected, we can go through that here. So if I go over to my dashboard, and if you're not familiar with YCharts, this is kind of your starting point of the tool. And this is where you can create watch lists of securities, model portfolios, stocks, funds, etc., and some charts here on the right to understand that or just get some more viewpoints on this dashboard. And from here, if you hover over support, you can click on integrations. And this is our integrations homepage for anyone that has a YCharts account. And so you'll notice here that we have our integration partners listed and the Orion status is inactive. So to activate that, you simply click on manage here and click on activate and log into Orion. This is going to take you to Orion to go ahead and sign into your account. And it'll give you a quick basically disclaimer here that basically says that you're okay with your data being displayed within YCharts. Once you hit allow, it'll automatically connect that integration. So now that you see that it's active, we're ready to start using that Orion and YCharts integration. And the place to use it within our platform here. So within our tools dropdown, this is all the tools that YCharts has to offer. We're going to focus today on model portfolios for the most part, because that's where the integration is the most valuable. But with those model portfolios, you can do things like charting, build scatter plots out. And then also for individual security analysis, we have our stock and fund screening tool, which are great. And lastly, we'll go into the comp tables tool a bit today as well, just to show you how you can navigate and use that portfolio data from Orion. So I'm going to go into that model portfolios page, and this is basically a list page of all your model portfolios. I have a bunch of model portfolios on my account, but I'm able to filter it. So I have this watch list of just my model portfolios. But let's go through a workflow of maybe you're meeting with Ethel Smith today and you want to do some research beforehand and prepare for that client meeting. And so since we've connected that Orion integration, I'm able to click on import holdings here, and you'll notice that Orion is listed. Once I click there, and Ben touched a little bit on the fact that you can have clients, accounts, models, and model aggregates within Orion. So those are all the endpoints, or those are all the types of data points you can pull into YCharts. So for the sake of this demonstration, we'll use a client and we'll use Ethel Smith since we're meeting with them today. And I'll hit submit, and that'll return some search results, and I'll hit next. This is the spot where I'll be able to see the underlying accounts for that client. And this is the only spot where you'll actually see that full account number. After you actually import it, we mask that number, and that way it's not displayed everywhere within YCharts. So I can go ahead and hit import, and just like that, it takes you into our model portfolio creator, which actually creates this portfolio for you within the tool. And you'll notice that we'll pre-populate a lot of things like the model portfolio name and the description, and you can choose a benchmark, a separate benchmark. We default to the S&P 500, but you could change that as well, and some other things here like an advisory fee and a rebalancing fee, or sorry, rebalance frequency as well. Lastly, down here, you'll see the actual holdings and weights of that imported portfolio. So you'll notice that on the right here, we have the imported symbols that we're pulling from Orion. And something like custodial cash, we won't have an actual security within YCharts. So you can just put in a proxy here. And we are working on adding the ability to have basically like a cash holding within the tool. But for the time being, it's just as simple as adding a money market fund in there and hitting update and then hitting save. And that will actually create your model portfolio, which will take a minute or so to create. So for the sake of time, I created that portfolio already. So I'll go ahead and search for Ethel, and let's go to that first model portfolio. And that takes us into that actual quote page for the model portfolio. So I'm able to get a quick breakdown of this portfolio in general. As I scroll through here, you'll see different statistics like returns. We have a key stats section, things like expense ratio, dividend yield. We have performance and risk statistics over different timeframes. So you can see we have some periodic performance versus the benchmark, as well as some risk statistics here that you can toggle through and view for this specific model portfolio. We also have some tabs up here. So, you know, other than these statistics here, you can click on things like allocations. And I think I saw a question come in about region exposure and being able to see region exposure. You can see that here. You can also see different things like asset allocation, stock sector breakdown, etc. So we're able to splice and dice that data in many ways to view within our tool. You can also do a holdings and holdings overlap, which really breaks down your portfolio and shows you the underlying holdings. But I did also want to go into our fundamental charting tool because this is one of our most used tools within YCharts. You can build out actual line chart of your portfolio versus a benchmark. Maybe you wanted to add in some other model portfolios. So if John Smith is someone else I wanted to compare this to, or maybe there's an actual model portfolio that I wanted to put on here too. You can do that all within this actual search bar here. And once you do that, you'll see the chart is going to update, and you can change the time frame and change some other settings here and get it presentation ready as well. We also allow for the ability to add firm colors, firm logos, and all of that so that it's more catered to your advisory firm. So once you do that, you can throw this into a deck, export it, things like that. The other great communication piece that we provide for model portfolios is our reports. So, again, meeting with Ethel today, maybe you wanted to prepare a report for them. So if I click on this reports button, you'll see that we have a comparison report, which is that side-by-side report I alluded to earlier. We have an overview report, which is just on this portfolio. And then we have these one-page tear sheets as well, which you can run on your model portfolios. So we have many options, and I'm just going to open one up quickly here to show you how it looks. We can enter that this is prepared for Ethel and go ahead and generate it. And you'll notice it's just a clean PDF report. And again, this will also be firm branded and you can add your firm colors in here as well as disclosures or any other information you needed to add at the end. So it's a great piece for your meetings. The last piece I wanted to touch on once you have these portfolios from Orion is the research capabilities. And we have this great tool called Quick Flows, which make it really easy to run through many different workflows within our tool without having to toggle through all of these tools from this dropdown. So I'm going to just use the Quick Flows and go through a few things that I think are interesting. For example, for this model portfolio, which is populated here at the top, maybe you want to run a risk reward scatter plot. So with one click, we're taken into our scatter plot charting tool, and you're able to view Ethel's model portfolio or their actual portfolio versus a benchmark, and you can have that risk versus reward conversation with them. Aside from that, maybe you want to look at the underlying holdings and they're wondering why their risk versus reward is a lot higher than their benchmark. Well, going back into that quick flows menu, I can go in here and say, let's look at the trailing returns of all my underlying holdings. So once I click holdings trailing returns, it's going to take me into that comp tables tool. And so here I can just collapse this metrics menu and I can say, all right, these are all of your holdings, Ethel, and these are the periodic returns. So year to date, there's been a lot going on with the markets. Let's sort that and see what's really bringing down your portfolio. Looks like a few names like PayPal and AMD have been down quite a bit this year. However, stocks like Exxon are up quite a bit year to date, which makes sense with what's going on in the market. So really easy to have that conversation. And then lastly, another great part about the Orion integration is you can household model portfolios and bring in a whole family of portfolios or even just underlying accounts. So let's say, again, going back to this Quick Flows menu, I'm meeting with the whole Smith family, not just Ethel, or they want to talk about all of their underlying accounts. So what you could do within this Quick Flows menu is go to the comparison tab. And that's going to allow you to have multiple model portfolios in here. And for the sake of time, I added a few already that are all under that Smith family, which we imported from Orion. And I can go ahead and say, all right, let's just look at a performance chart of these three model portfolios together. So over time, over the last 3 years, it looks like your Roth IRA had around 4.25% over a year. Let's look at it year to date, maybe, or over the last 3 years. You can toggle through and show all three of these underlying accounts on one chart. You can also add in a benchmark if you'd like and add other securities and even economic indicators if that's a part of your workflow here. So a lot you can do within the charting tool. And then lastly, I'll just cover one more here on the comparison list. You can see we have a ton, but maybe you want to look at sectors because sectors are in a lot of the conversations right now with what's going on with the markets. So I can click on that sector exposure. And again, it takes me back into that tables tool and gives me a rundown of these underlying accounts. And I can say, all right, so energy has been in the news because of what's going on with oil prices. Well, it's your traditional IRA has 23% in energy. So let's talk about that. Or your tech exposure is pretty high in your corporation account. Let's have a conversation about that. So those are just a few of the workflows you can do within YCharts once you've imported those portfolios within Orion, and then you can take action within Orion, which is why this integration is so powerful. And with that, that's all we wanted to show. And so we can cover a few questions that came up here. And one of them was, if you don't use model portfolios, can you pull in actual positions? And the answer is yes. And Ben, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but via the client and accounts views or those
Right.
aggregates, you can actually pull in the actual data.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So again, we're pulling in obviously the name of the account, right? But then also all of the holdings of the individual account and then the model assignments of those accounts. So that's exactly right.
All right, great. Another question I got here from Peter was, is it possible to design and store custom composite benchmarks? And the answer for this one is yes, you can. So, for example, if I'm just going back into the model portfolios tool and I wanted to see, let's clear this and let's actually go to Ethel's portfolio here and let's edit this one. And so if I'm editing this portfolio, you can actually use a model portfolio as a benchmark rather than an index. So if I had a conservative benchmark, or let's just try and type in benchmark. Let's see. So yeah, I have a couple other like aggregated benchmarks. So maybe you want to compare this portfolio to an 80-20 benchmark. You just hit enter and it's in there, and then you can resave it and it'll recalculate all your return and risk metrics based on that.
And Rish, I think one one question I've seen come up a few times, and maybe you can better answer this than I can based on potentially your knowledge of the integration. But um, if so, the connections obviously via API, right? From again the push from Orion into YCharts, is that a kind of a once a day type of sync of data where YCharts is going out and grabbing that data, or are there kind of delta syncs that happen during the day? I don't know if that's the proper term, but it sounds like that's kind of a more popular question as well.
Yeah, so the way the integration works is it's a one-time import, so it's a real-time API import. So what that means is any day that you import, it's pulling the most updated data, but it's not going to dynamically update. So if you did make a change within Orion with a model or with a client account, you would just go back into YCharts and within the dropdown, you can either just re-import that portfolio or just pull it in again to have that most updated data.
Okay. Yeah. I think a few folks had that question in terms of models changing. You're kind of making a change within Orion, obviously, and then that reflecting within YCharts. I think that was a question that a few folks had. The So I guess the setup process, if you want to jump back into YCharts really quick, just I just wanted to see that again as well. Showing the integrations.
Yeah, so if you hover over support here, it's the third option, which is integrations. And once you click there, it'll take you to this integrations menu where you'll be able to actually log into your Orion account from here.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
then
And so it's just, and sorry, it's just you're just linking your credentials from Orion, and that's how it's pulling the data, right?
exactly, yeah. So it's taking you to Orion where you just input your credentials and then you're logged in and the integration is active.
Yeah. And so in terms of kind of the setup process, right, it should be pretty pretty quick, right? I mean, a couple of minutes for that connection to be established, and then we're going to pull the data to make that available.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
it's
yeah.
almost instant. So right when you log in and you see this active status, then you're ready to start importing. And that is actually one of the reasons why we did the real-time API
Right.
that doesn't send the files every night. So it's nice and quick. You're logged in and now you can start pulling that data right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know a few of the questions that have popped up as well was you know anything that's synced from YCharts back into Orion. Today there's not anything that's part of that API connection with this initial iteration of the integration. It is again Orion pushing data into YCharts. That's certainly something that we're going to look into for future enhancements on this integration. But today it is kind of that sync of data from Orion into YCharts as it exists today.
Yeah, definitely. We'll definitely be building on this integration because we've seen a lot of users loving it. So I agree with that, Ben.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we can wrap up here, Ben, unless you wanted to cover any other questions.
Yeah, I'm just kind of scrolling through these questions to make sure there wasn't anything that I missed to try to help answer here. I know there are a few questions about some composite data questions within Orion. Today, like I said, the integration from Orion into YCharts is just the account level information, the model assignments, the details of the accounts, composite information within Orion. So obviously, if you're calculating your composites within Orion, that data specifically is not synced over to YCharts today. Again, the model details, the model allocations, all of that is synced over, but the composite performance or anything like that is unfortunately not part of that integration today. Let's see, and then there's one other question. Again, this is kind of more Orion specifics. That's why I'm just kind of trying to answer some of these. But within Orion, if you have sleeve level details, so if you have one account at the custodian that is sleeved out into multiple underlying sub accounts within Orion, we would sync the sleeve level details over into YCharts since we're syncing everything at that account level, right? So the sleeve level details, if you have again that one custodial account sleeved into 2 or 3 underlying sub accounts, we would sync over the sub accounts into YCharts, so you could again theoretically show each sleeve within YCharts as its own underlying account. If that makes sense. I'm pretty sure if you have any experience with our sleeve level details, or if you wanted to add anything there.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add that I've noticed is the way people have their household set up. Like if you wanted to search for an actual client, but you wanted just 1 or 2 underlying accounts to household, you can do that. You can select just a few of them if you didn't want to household all of them. So I think that helps with the whole sleeves nature of people's accounts.
Sure. And I know there's one other question. I think the terminology sometimes as well can be just slightly different, but again, client, household, those terms are synonymous. So again, when you say client within YCharts, that's certainly the term household within Orion. That's somewhat synonymous there. So see, the integration time frame. I think you covered that. It's pretty much instant, right? So here's one question that within YCharts is the performance that you were showing right within the charts. Is that performance based on some of the existing holdings or the actual historical performance of the account? So when you're kind of showing that charted performance, is that the actual performance of it's like if there's changes that were made in the account, it's the positions within the account in the past, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah. So currently it is a hypothetical. It's almost like a snapshot of the current holdings. So it's not going to accommodate for historical transactions.
Yeah, I don't know why hypothetical. That was the word I was looking for, but couldn't arrive at it. So that was one question that we had there as well. That came up a couple of times, it looked like.
Yeah, I do see one about compliance and masking the account numbers, and if there's any other drawbacks between integrating. Something else that people have asked about that I think will ease your mind in terms of the compliance side is, do we keep your login information? And the answer is no, we don't. So once you're logged into Orion, you're going to Orion to log in. We don't store any of those credentials on YCharts, and so that way, that it's just a security measure. That way, those credentials aren't exposed at all.
Okay, very good. One other question, and I think we kind of talked about this before the webinar started, but in terms of some of the classifications of securities, within YCharts, what is the typical classification hierarchy that most or that YCharts leverages to classify securities as, like a large core, large cap, mid cap, et cetera? What are those typically come from?
Yeah, so we get a lot of our data from Morningstar, who's our data provider. So they classify those as large cap core. They provide those allocation data points, and then
Mhm.
we have those within YCharts.
Okay. And again, that was reason for highlighting that is just, again, that's typically what we see advisors leverage within Orion as well. So again,
Mhm.
those should be the same as, they're reflected within YCharts as they are in Orion. So let's see, I'm just looking through the questions, make sure there wasn't anything that we hadn't answered here. Yeah, I think we've answered most all of the questions here, or if there are some questions in here, I think that we'll just need to kind of follow up with these folks individually, just because they are a little bit more specific and in depth. But again, really appreciate this opportunity and the partnership here with this integration. Looking forward to continuing to enhance the integration as well.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Thanks for your time. And just to close out, everyone, like I mentioned in the beginning, we are going to send a recording of this webinar out to everyone. So, but also if you have any questions or if you want to reach out to see a little more of either YCharts on our end and you want to sign up for a free trial, you can do that here. Or for Orion, if you wanted to learn more, you can use that URL that they have listed to reach out to them. So hopefully this was helpful if you're a brand new user of YCharts or if not yet, or the same thing with Orion, but feel free to reach out if you want any more information, and thanks a lot for your time today.